All right. So welcome once again, and I hope the semester has treated you well already. We'll quickly go through our course outline to give us some direction in the course for this year. And then we will disperse until we are ready for next week when we take up the actual content, which is lecture 1. So first and foremost, I would like to engage us in the course outline. Do you have any questions? Let's start with that, just in case there are any clarifications you see quickly before we take off. Is there any question? If there is a question, kindly raise your hand. I'll address it quickly, then we take off. Okay, so I don't see any hand up yet, so we'll start. On your screen, you see that I'm sharing your course outline. It has been there for a while now. I suspect that some of you would have seen it. It's on Sakai at the overview tool. It's also in your resource tool on Sakai. So those who are properly registered into the course already would see it. And you see that I've also posted some slides for you, and there's so much information on the course for you to work with. We have 11 weeks this semester, including today. So if we use up today, then we have 10 weeks left, and each session per week is 2 hours. So we need to know how to organize ourselves around it. It has started whether you are in school or not, you see. So let's see how we work without creating too many lapses for ourselves. So University of Ghana on our screen now, all rights reserved, Department of Philosophy and Classes, School of Arts. It's the first semester of the academic year 2022-2023. We are looking at our course syllabus now. The course we have in mind is Problems of Philosophy. The course code is PHCL201. And it's a 3-credit-hour course. That simply means you spend 2 hours lecture time, 1 hour tutorial time per week. So you have 3 credits. In other words, 2 hours to your credit every week in the course. That is why tutorial is compulsory. It is part of the contact period you are expected to have in the course. Okay. For main campus, we will do the Monday 9:30 to 11:20, the central cafeteria in person. And then Tuesday 3:30 to 5:20, non-compulsory online session, but it's a repetition of what we will do. We will not run the lecture again on the Tuesday, like I told the main campus folks. I'll just take queries because of the class size and mop up. Okay. So it's not required. But City Campus, which is the class you are working with now, we meet on Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m. And like the communication came to you on Sakai, it is still there. When we finish, we'll go to Sakai and look at it. And also copy to your emails. Instead of the alternating of week 1 online, week 2 in person, week 1 on the next week online, the next week in person. I mean, instead of that, we'd rather do a block online for the first 6 weeks, and then we continue with the rest of the weeks in person. I think the rest of the weeks will be 5 in person. So City Campus already is running a hybrid mode, but it would have been 1 week online, the other week in person, 1 week online, the other week in person. It doesn't help too much for continuity sometimes. So we do our first 6 weeks online continuously, then we can have some continuity and systematic, engagement in the discussions. Then the second half we do in person. So that is the arrangement, and I'm repeating it again. We'll keep the online sessions also recorded. That gives you some kind of advantage, if you like, over your colleagues, I think, depending on how you see it, because you get to refer to the content again, which is not the case if it's all in person. All right. As for my details, I think you would have engaged me for some time now, so you have it. My office hours, it's Monday 12 to 2 for this semester. It doesn't mean to be so for all semesters. But for this semester, according to my calendar, I can squeeze these 2 hours on Monday to engage matters that need to be discussed, if they need to be discussed at all. Some of them we can do on phone, Some we can do via email. Some have already been dealt with by announcements or even in class communication like this. So we can't repeatedly deal with them again. But if there is something that has to be addressed in person, then you can come to the office on that day. All right, then these are your teaching assistants, Napari and then Oponjima, Mohammed Napari, David Oponjima. Their contact numbers are there for you to reference. Now I need one of you to read the course description quickly. I'm going through the course outline today and then get a fair idea of the nature of the course, what is expected of you, blah, blah, blah. And then we are done. I see 2 hands already. Very good. So let's take Asantua. After that, I can take Emmanuel later. So Asantua, Sarah, please go ahead, read the course description for me.
Course description.
Yes.
This
Please.
course explores some central problems of philosophy as an academic discipline and discusses some attempts made by philosophers at addressing them. It builds on the course PHCL201 philosophical questions, which introduce learners to the general nature, method, and approaches to the study of philosophy, and devoted some attention to fundamental questions of the discipline. The course provides a more detailed presentation of the core problems from the various fields of philosophy and engages a more rigorous and deeper analysis of them by situating the discussion in contemporary and practical real-life situations.
Excellent. Well read. Well done, Asantua. Asantua gets a mark. So Mohammed and David, either one of you who is online, kindly keep the record for me. She's Asantua Sarah. All right. So like Asantua read, we will just be building on what we saw in philosophical questions last semester. The questions we asked in philosophy at the introductory level is what we will engage at a more deeper and give it more rigorous and attention than we did in level 100. So here we are not just dealing with questions that are philosophically interesting, but we will engage those questions that have become a problem, if you like. They are like walls of Gibraltar, I tell students all the time. They just don't go away because we have attempted to resolve them. We have attempted to give responses to them, but their attempt at responding still doesn't deal with the problem. Why? Because it looks like the various perspectives or the various responses given work for all angles. So you see questions like the question of knowledge and how it has generated rationalism, empiricism, schools of thought. You will see reality versus appearance. It's what we see really, what is there, or sometimes what we experience, we see, hear, touch, or taste may not necessarily represent what is actually there. Okay, so which one do we depend on? I caught the guy red-handed with the phone. I mean, the missing phone is in his hands. In fact, I caught him on camera, pulling it out. Why do we have to even engage any further discussion? Remember your final exam in 102, okay? The one on why there's even reason at all to keep, what's the thing? Postponing the case. There's an expression for that, when you go to court, then they say, oh, adjourned, that's the word. Why should we keep adjourning this simple matter? The guy was caught red-handed. The camera showed it, the CCTV camera captured him pulling those bundles of dollars from the man's, drawer. He put it in the bag and ran out of the house. What else do we need to verify? So the empiricist rationalist discussion comes up in such a scenario. We saw the one on the Galamsey that you saw in exam as well in level 100. The man is really helping the society. He's even giving them job to do. He's paying fees, he's building churches, taking care of health issues, building hospitals there. I mean, look at the consequences of his actions. But he got the money from Galamsey, illegal mining, destroying all the water sources in the village, not just the village, but with implications on the nation and the globe at large. How do we, so those philosophical questions that we asked, which gave us the various perspectives, are the ones we are going to engage at a deeper level now, where we are engaging them as problems, difficulties, daunting issues that we can't overcome easily by a straightforward yes or no answer. And so that is what the course is about. And so your ability to, let's go quickly on to the next, the goal. It will help us see what we are about. Okay. Sarah, maybe you want to read the course goals as well, and then I'll take the next reader to do the objectives. Go ahead.
It's not showing here.
Oh, sorry, you can see it. Who sees the course goals, please? Does anyone see it?
Yes,
Hey, nobody can see it.
yes.
I can see it.
Emmanuel, who can see it? Is it Emmanuel?
I can see Joseph, I can see.
Okay, Joseph, then go ahead.
Okay, madam, thank you.
Thank you. Go
Course
ahead.
goals.
Mhm.
Course goals. The course has two main goals. First, you will be exposed to some important philosophical problems in metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, social and political philosophy, with view to developing a clear understanding of philosophical debate and appreciating the relevance. Second, you will be encouraged to think critically about this debate to help you formulate and evaluate arguments so that you can arrive at what you take to be most plausible philosophical responses to them and consider how these can be applied to actual human content.
Very good.
Course
Actual
objectives.
human context. Very good. Hold on with the objective. So the goal is where we want to get to. You know, when you play football, you do all the dribbling, the passing, the tackling, but ultimately there is a goal. You want to reach somewhere. So these two goals are what we want to achieve. It should guide how you are studying. Okay. It should direct and instruct your focus when you are studying, because we want to achieve something ultimately. First, what? We want to expose you. You should know certain problems in the various branches of philosophy. So you know metaphysics, you know some epistemology, some ethics, some sociopolitical philosophy, you know all those from level 100. Now we are going to engage problems that fall within these main philosophical branches, or if you like, fields. Not just knowing them and how important they are, but we want you to develop a clear understanding of the debate. In other words, the contention, what these various fields are contending about. So if it is epistemology and we are engaging rationalism, empiricism debate, what is the focus of that debate? What is it about at all? The tensions, the philosophical problems within that discipline. What is it bordering on? Okay, if it is metaphysics and we are discussing existence, reality, justice, free will, life after death, stuff like that. What at all are the central problems that they are pulling hairs over, okay, in that field of philosophy? If it's the problem of evil, there are a lot of philosophical problems. You can't do all within one. But if it were the problem of evil, what is it about really? If it's the problem of free will versus determinism, what we will engage today, hopefully, before we end. What is the bone of contention between or amongst people in that field? Okay, if it's epistemology, what is the question of knowledge that is generating those contentions? So by the time you finish this course, you should at least means it can be more, but what you should know, the smallest you should know is what? That one, these are the problems that you can identify within philosophy. In the field of metaphysics, this is one contending issue there. In the field of epistemology, this is what the people are contending over. In ethics, they are discussing this, or the contentions that philosophers grapple with include this. In social and political philosophy, it includes that, and so on. Okay, then you are able to clearly express an understanding of those debates, and you can appreciate not just that you know what they are debating about, but how relevant is that debate to practical, everyday life. Remember what Kwame Deji told us about philosophy. You just don't do the ivory tower kind of reflection. You know so much, so what? How does it reflect in everyday life? How does it help in dealing with practical problems of existence? So whether it's metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, or what have you, when I know them, those debates, and I know the various perspectives to them, how am I able to express my knowledge of it? That will be tested. And then how am I able to show the relevance of those debates to everyday life in the law court, in medicine, politics, culture, international relations, stuff like that. How do those, or how does that particular debate reflect everyday life? Then your friend also read the second goal. You see how simple it looks up there, but when we open it up, it's about 3 in 1 for just the first goal. And the second goal says what? We are helping you to think deeply about the debate. And we are going to help you to learn how to formulate. Formulate means create it. You can't do philosophy and get into an entity or an institution, regardless of which institution it is, and then you don't know how to creatively help in building that institution. It's a skill we grow, we develop in a person. You see, you creatively, you construct, you create, you formulate. You are not waiting for someone to do it, then you come and only evaluate and examine. But it's a skill we're working in you. Okay, so you are going to learn how to formulate, okay, and evaluate, place value, judge it, assess it, examine it. So evaluate argument. Argument just means the reasons people have offered for the claims they've made in this problems that we are going to study, very fundamental problems. When you learn that skill of evaluating, first of all, you should learn how to formulate. So if you were speaking for Plato, or you're speaking for Russell, the people you are going to study, or you were engaging the view of Miles in her individualism, communitarianism, or something, you should be able to formulate what she said, construct it, and then you should be able to evaluate, judge it, or examine it. That skill is what you will apply if you were in parliament as an MP, or you would apply if you were the manager of a company, a bank or something, you are running out of resources and you have to speak to the congregation at church, or you had to evangelize, or you had to mediate between two nations who are throwing bombs at each other, what have you. It's a skill. You polish it. So like the knife, if it is polished and sharpened, it can cut cabbage, it can cut a finger that is stealing, but it can also cut the meat and at the same time cut the grass and at the same time trim the yam. So the skill is what we are developing in you. What it will cut is up to you and where you find yourself. That's the thing with human disciplines like philosophy. Okay, so we are developing that skilling, and that's what we will grade. That is what we are targeting. So the objectives is what follows next. The objectives will be geared towards achieving these goals. There are 2 in 1 of them. Okay, so your skill of formulating and evaluating arguments so that you can arrive at what you take to be the most plausible philosophical responses to them. The law court, in that entity, if you were a judge, if you were the head of the people who are building our national cathedral, if you were on that team, you will have to reflect and make decisions. If you were the Minister of Finance currently, are you going to take the pensioners' money or you are going to the individual bonds, folks? Which one is the lesser evil? Stuff like that. Okay, you have to make decisions. Plausible responses to them. Plausibility doesn't mean it doesn't have issues. It could have issues, but which one is the most defensible view given the circumstances before you? That is the skill we develop. So you apply that to the various philosophical views we study. You consider how these can be applied to actual human context. I spent so much time there because I'm hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. The relevance of what you are doing now, how it applies out there, even in your other disciplines, okay? If that is well-grounded, then I can take, there was another person before, I think it was Emmanuel. So let's take Emmanuel, then afterwards, Ernestina's hand is up, she can read this. Emmanuel, go ahead.
All right, madam. Please, the course objectives. The objectives of the course include the following. 1. To expose learners to some central problems of philosophy and encourage them to appreciate the relevance of these questions in their life of today. The second one is to acquaint learners with some traditional schools of thought generated from responses to the traditional problems of philosophy. The third one is to challenge the minds of learners to critically reflect, analyze, and raise critical arguments either for or against a philosophical view or position. The fourth one is to inculcate the qualities of open mindedness, objectivity, and independence of thought in learners. The fifth one is to develop the skill of rational, coherent, and consistent argumentation that accommodates other views without necessarily accepting or endorsing them. And the last one is to develop in learners the skill of problem solving through philosophical analysis.
Well done, Freeman. That also earned you a mark. I think someone else read. Anyone participating in the class earns a mark. Okay, when I finish and I play back, I'll be able to pull them all out. But if my GAs are online, if they are able to be online now, then they are also able to make a note of that. We'll keep records. Thank you, Emmanuel. So I was just saying that everything that Emmanuel has read touches on what I said earlier. You will see the question of critical reflection, point 3 now. Analysis. Analysis means you open out the problem. The best way to deal with whatever problem is your ability to open it out, break it down to its minute details. So if it's a full dress, remove the hands or the arms of the dress. If it's the bust, the top part, cut it out. If there's a skirt part, open it out. That is how to deal with the problem. If you were washing it, that's how you can wash it and wash it well. You wash the color. You take that tiny bit of the color of the shirt and wash it. You'll be tired, but you keep focusing on that side until it is well washed. Then you go to the sleeves. Then you go to the armpit. Then the back, then the front. That way. But if you take the whole dress, the bulk of it, and you want it to become clean, and you are wrangling and wrangling, it will not give you the effect you are looking for. The point then is, in solving problems, the skill of analysis is key. Analysis just means open it out, break it down to its minute details. So whatever view you are deliberating or discussing or examining or assessing, you first of all want to analyze. Then you critically examine. Then you assess. Then you evaluate. These are all seemingly big words. They are not saying much. It just means you are going to buy something at the market. They tell you this is 1 cup of rice and it is 30 Ghana. And the other one is 6 cups of rice in that container. So if it's Ulunka, the big one, this one is 6, and they tell you the small one is 1. What will you do if you want to buy 2 Ulunkas? You are going to check the price for that small one that goes into the 6, the big one. So you want to check, if I buy the big one, it's 6 times the small one. Let me see the price for the small one and check it to see if times 6 of it will give me, then if I buy the Olonka, it's better because maybe it has a lower price compared to this. What you are doing is, first of all, you are analyzing. Then as you analyze, you assess, you judge the two. And you examine. You are examining, like I examine you in exam. I want to see, examination is a bit high up there than if you like assessment. Assessment is my perspective of it, I think. But examination is there's a common standard that I'm shaking you to see. So that is what we do every day, really. It is not a big deal, but when you apply it academically, you want to be a bit more focused. So those skills is what the philosopher sharpens. We polish it for you. You already have it, but you sharpen it. So you are so alert. Last week, I said it in class. Not last week, I think Monday when I met the main campus, maybe your critical thinking, one of the classes I've taught this week. I said, you stand in class and sometimes ask, those at the back, please, can you hear me? And then the people at the back will respond and say, no, madam. I asked your friends, what do you make of that? I'm standing in front and I'm speaking to the class. I want to know if the people at the back can hear. So I asked, those at the back, can you hear me? And then those at the back, not those in front, those at the back respond and say, no, madam, I want to hear from you. What do you think? What analysis can you make from that? Let me see if people can get what I'm driving at. Anybody wants to talk about it? Where is my screen? I want to look at the hands that I have. If I ask, can you hear me? And those at the back respond, no, madam, we can't hear you. What do you make of it? Is it Mabel? Mabel, do you want to react
Yes,
to that?
madam.
Yes, go ahead, Mabel. Tell me what you make of that.
It means they could hear you. That's why they heard, can you hear me?
Exactly.
So they responded to.
Exactly. So that as soon as I hear that, I have to continue teaching with them and ignore them. But people won't see. You see, because you say, and when we are telling you the dog that we can't hear cry, she's continuing. If you can't hear, then what did you respond to? As soon as you responded to it, you have already shown that you can hear. If I had said, can you hear me clearly? Then maybe you say, oh no, dog, we can hear you partially. Some of the things I say we can't hear. But I'm telling you that most of the times the question was, can you hear? And at the back, everybody is going, no, madam. And that in fact means you heard it. And that is basic analysis. If you didn't hear, what are you responding to? So sometimes the reason why the court issue has been thrown out, the person's case has been thrown out of the courtroom, and the whole Ghana is agitated. Perhaps it is because the kind of presentation made in court is just like the one who said, the bachelor next door has beaten his wife mercilessly, and I was there. I am a witness to how that bachelor beat his wife. And the judge is sitting down helpless. She can't help the lady because of how the case was presented. If you analyze what was said, however can a bachelor beat his wife? Where? On which land? Not on earth, not in heaven, not in hell. That thing cannot happen. Oh, but Doc, you were not there. We were there. We saw it. You saw what? The bachelor. What did he do? He beat his wife. Bachelor beat his wife. It cannot happen. So the problem is not like someone is being technical. It is an analysis of what is presented. When you break it down, what you are saying can't happen. Okay, so we can go on and on and on and on, but I'm trying to make these discussions a bit more practical to you and relevant to the disciplines and the field of endeavors that some of you would want to enter into: law, court, politics, business, banking, academia. Some of you may want to continue into academia. The skill of analysis, critical argumentation, philosophical reflection. You are dealing with the fundamental matters and you are being objective. Look at the first point. You are open-minded about it. You are objectively discussing the issue without fear or favor, no emotions attached. Human, yes, but not emotional. People don't know the difference. You can deal with a matter as dispassionately as you can. Of course, being human, the humanness in you will always come up. But objectivity means you try to play the devil's advocate in the issue being discussed. And these are all skills we are helping ourselves polish up. There's rationality, there's coherence, the skill of coherence. That's point 5. And the objectives. You don't want to start arguing for a view. By the time you finish and you conclude, you actually argued against the view. I don't think that this discussion in defense of free willism is accurate, because I think so and so and so and so. By the time you finish, that is why I think that free willism is the real view to take. Yeah, but when you started, you said you don't think that view is accurate. So we're all following you, thinking that you are taking us towards Trazako. Before we opened our eyes, we have reached Pediasi Lodge. Worlds apart. One is Eastern, the other one is Western. Tell us where you are going and take us there in your argument. That is what coherence means. Very simple. So if you started and you are defending a certain view, or in your mind's eye, one view may be more defensible than the other, and then we want to see the case you are making for that. And we follow you, and by the time we get to the end, you have changed your position from the way you are speaking. That's what we say, or that is what we mean when we say you are being incoherent or inconsistent. And we want, even if you are wrong in your view, be consistently wrong. It is better than when you are inconsistently right. That creates a problem for the philosophical. And the last one is the skill of problem solving through philosophical analysis. And I think you got that. So now we can move quickly to see how much time I've spent on that. This recording will go to both campuses. That is what we measure you by in academia, generally speaking. let alone in philosophy, where we are a bit more particular about this. Okay, so you want to be focused in that. Now I think it was Favor. No, Ernestina. Ernestina, go ahead with the next slide, learning outcomes.
All right, thank you. Learning outcomes. At the end of the course, the learner should be able to recognize, define, identify, and understanding of critical problems, bring out main arguments and other supporting evidences. Express a fair understanding of what the fundamental philosophical problems are in metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, social and political philosophy. Clearly express and define their views about the positions and indicate why their views are preferable to that of others. Relate the various philosophical problems to personal, national, and global contexts. Apply the problem-solving skills learned to practical life issues.
Well done. I think that those were just building on what I said under the objectives. So it is the objective that is captured into the learning outcome. So think of the objectives like the dribbling that you do so that you get to the goal. Okay, so you dribble, you pass to someone, some places you will tackle and what have you, but ultimately aimed at a certain goal. So there's measurable steps that you will take, the measurable things that we want you to know, the objective, what the objectives in our study, that those are the objectives. So it takes you to a certain place, then this one will take you to a certain place. Then we want to make sure that you have learned this and that so that you can attain the goal, the ultimate goal. Now the outcome is what we measure per objective. So they are all the same. Okay, that's what we can check around. And Ernestina earned her mark for that. So I can now take Nasiba Yusuf. Emmanuel, I think you read, so we can put your hand down until we have another question, okay? When I finish it, Ades, you can come in. Let's take Nasiba. Go ahead, Nasiba.
Okay, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, please.
Method of instruction. The course content will be delivered both in-person at the lecture hall and virtually on Sakai and supported with resources. Announcement and assessment delivered online through Sakai. It is the responsibilities of learners to check all announcements, resources, assignments, and tests, which is posted on the course site on Sakai.
My lady, thank you very much. I want to emphasize that it is your responsibility. So I didn't see it. I didn't know. I forgot. It's not my work. Hey.
Please, madam, I cannot hear anything.
Please, I can't hear you.
Madam, you can't hear.
I think it's a general problem.
Yeah.
General problem, so let's calm down and try.
Me too, I can't hear anything. No.
Maybe network, so she'll come back.
Yes, she will come back. It's network problems.
My people.
Madam.
Yes, madam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Can
hear you.
I think that was a problem.
Yes,
I've switched. Yeah,
Madam.
I'm back on. I've switched to my phone data. I suspect I will be able to finish. So if you can hear me, that's fine. I was just explaining that I beg you. So I didn't see it. I forgot. I didn't know. Doug, please open it 1 minute for me. That one day, it can't wait. Okay, this is level 200. We are confident that you get to level 1. That is why I got to before the the demons who don't want me to confess positively onto interview, but they lie. I said, we are confident that you will make very good grades and get to your level 400 and graduate with first class as you choose it. Okay. So please, it is your responsibility to do that. I will advise that you daily go to Sakai and check all your course sites, not just this one. Okay. You go there and read the announcement there. It's the announcement tool that any lecturer will confidently use to reach out to all of you. Okay, so you go to the announcement tool. If there are assignments, you go and check the deadlines. You can make a note of it and all that. Those little things shouldn't get at you. So that is it. Now on that screen now, the delivery, you already know. In person, you do some presentations, you do class, excuse me, some group work, etc., according to the course outline detailing. I will do some unannounced exercises in class. Take sheets of paper. We can do it online. Design a graph. I come on like this, then I pause now and say, so for the rest of the session, the next 30 minutes, go to Sakai and submit a response to this question and come back. I can do it. So, so you want to come prepared. I don't want to do that, but if I see that the class is not, generally speaking, not everyone, but some people don't want to come along with us. We don't want them to spoil us, so we'll make them work. Then I can just call for unannounced exercises like this. Even online, I can do it. Okay. Now, always prepare a one-page critical summary of the topics. That's why I've given you slides on up to about 6 topics or so. Already, they are there. So you don't have too many excuses. They are notes capturing the salient issues that you have to know. Then the reference texts are also seminar texts. They are not difficult to get. Some of them, even if you Google, you can download it. Like Russell's paper, you can get it on. I've even given you a link. Some of them I've copied the whole PDF and posted there because they are not issues that topics that will raise copyright issue. The only thing is we didn't compile into a handout for you, but you are past that now. So you will do fine. Okay. And then on your screen still, please keep looking. Your exam is 50%, assessment 1, 10%, week 3. I'll take it in week 3. So assessment 1, you will read on Miles's paper, you know, the individual and the individualism, communitarianism debate. You saw it in level 100, I think. If you didn't, it will be there. It's part of your reference. It's online. Just read that paper. I'll open an assignment for you to post a response there. I don't know what I'll ask you. So read that paper. I may ask you to respond to something or do a critical summary, post your critical summary that you did, or distinguish this from that according to the paper you read, or something like that. When I open that, maybe it will be 3 hours. Then you post it, and then I close it because I know I've given it to you for 3 weeks. So it will only be opening for you to post and then close them. Okay, which paper are we referring to? The individual and the individualism communitarian. Hey, where will you get it? It is online. Just post the link there and enter. It will open. You just access it and read. That's all. And you have 3 weeks to do that. Whether you are on Sakai or not is not an excuse. Okay. So that one, you submit it in week 3. Then assessment 2, you submit it in week 5. Then midterm test, you do it in week 7. It's only 20%. Then you do a group presentation the 10th week. Excuse me, the 9th week, it will be 10% or so. Your essays, look at how we examine your essays. Please keep looking on my screen respectfully. How much you can demonstrate a fair understanding of the theories and ideas. That's what we'll test you by. Clarity of expression. I told your colleagues, we don't want, I didn't did it. It didn't went. You know, thou shall I, that kind of language. We don't want those. Be elegant, simple, straight, you know, straight to the point, simple. That is philosophy. Very elegant. You know, we don't like all this plenty makeup, you know, red, gold, green. No. Just be classy, rounded, concise, rigorous. Let there be depth in what you are saying. I presented in a very simple form. That is what philosophers look out for, not so much plenty talk. That is, you know, the brightness of this day has given me the opportunity to write to you this letter. Just say, I'm writing to say this and that to you. I think I love you. I want us to spend a life together. Will you say yes to my proposal? Full stop. 3 lines, you're done. By the time you write, the brightness of this day has given me the opportunity, and keep writing. Then after your 3rd paragraph in the conclusion, you say, Will you marry me? Someone has already said, will you marry me? And the girl has responded and it's gone. That's what I mean. So try and be concise, rounded, simple, rich, not plenty talk. Quality, not quantity. Okay. All right. Then the obvious ones that you know, don't submit your assignment late. If it is an online assessment and it is timed, then you want to make sure you have a stable internet and all that. We don't want you to do plagiarized work. And you know what that means. We will catch you. You know, sometimes even how you are writing, the tone shows that it is not the person writing. That's switched all over. And now it is so rich. You can tell that this one is a high level write-up. Write what you know according to your strength. That's all. You will do fine. Respond to the question. If they say don't exceed a certain number of words, you want to keep to that. Because we are testing how you're able to write within a small space and still, you know, communicate a rich response. Okay, so when you are restricted, you keep to that. If you are giving a whole number of pages to why not, then you write it. And I think you will do fine. The grading skill, you will be well vexed with it by now. So this is Ajay and Miles, some references for you. Quite a number of them are easily accessible, even at the department. Judge's text, for example, they're all there. Mailers questions that matter are there. Miles's paper, you'll get it in the department. This one, for example, is there in the department text. This one, you can Google it, the individual and the individualism, communitarianism debate. It's online, freely accessible. Don't pay anything for it. Okay, right. Then, so I put it there for you, and I've stressed that I haven't given any handout to anyone to be given to you. Now the weekly topics. Introductory matters. So week 1, you see that the lectures 1 and 2 this week and next week are for introductory matters. Then I'm supposed to assign you the individual reading assignment 1, which I've told you about. We'll take it in week 3. That's our contract together that you see on your screen now, okay? You know your TAs. Did you see your TAs? I mentioned it already. TA Mohammed and TA David. You're going through the course outline, the reading resources, and what have you. Today we'll start the problem of free will versus determinism and how we reconcile that with the question of moral responsibility. Ortega, I'm sure you know him by now. Man has no nature. We really engaged him. So here we'll focus more on Sartre's questions that matter and the fundamentals of ethics, which we have used to create slides for you. The next problem we engage is the problem of the self. John Locke. These are all very accessible. And we look at the Akan concept of a person. If you went to your Sakai now, those who have done that, you have seen slides on them already. You should be engaging them. Then referencing the text there. Okay. The third, yes, please. Sorry. Go ahead.
Please, we can't see your screen.
Hey. Are you the only one who can see?
No, madam. No.
2 seconds.
Some of
I
us
can't
can
see.
see.
We can't see.
Madam, I can see.
Oh, some can see. I just disconnected. So you could see all the time because it was there.
Here,
Madam, there's
I
an echo in your voice.
My friend who couldn't see, can you see now?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes, please, we can
I
see.
like I can see it. It helps.
No, madam.
No. When you say I can see, it really helps. Then when you say we can see, it gets me a bit frustrated. So others could see, but it happens. So now everyone can see. Let's continue. So the third lecture will engage is the problem of the self. What I'm doing is all on your course outline. I just want to project while talking. The course outline is already there on Sakai for you. Okay. What I looked at earlier was this. So the weekly lecture topics and readings, this one. If you are looking for the one I say you should read for the third topic, this is it. Miles's paper. This is Miles's paper, the third one. The 2018 one that I have projected here. This the individual in the individualism communitarianism debate in defense of personism. You can find it at this web. You see this link, https something. It's there, freely accessible to you. Okay, here we are. So I looked at introductory matters and touched on, I said in lecture 1, we'll do all of this. Lecture 2, we'll continue with the problem of free will versus determinism. That is what the contract is with you. And then I said the lecture 3 will look at the problem of the self from Locke's perspective. John Locke's perspective is a problem, fundamental problem. When we engage it, you will see why. Why should we say you are the one when you go and vote? It all we look at when you're going to vote is your thumb. You use your thumb, or better still, when you are authenticating something, it's your signature or your thumbprint. So if your thumb is not there, how do we ascertain who you are? Are you the same person that mommy put powder on when you're lying on her lap? Okay, or you are different. If you are on the academic channel, my YouTube academic channel, some of you could have played those recordings and listened to them, the discussions that we had in the past. The problems are the same. The discussions, though, is what we will continue varying because we want to hear your view of it. So you can play and see, but think around it. You are now maybe 18, 19, 21, 22, some are 16, 17. Are you the same person that you are now compared to the one that was lying on your mother day one when you came out of her tummy? The question may look to you like, but why are you asking that question? Look at your body now. Can mommy come and carry you and put you on her lap and put powder at those
Madam,
places?
please, I can't see.
At those places like she used to do when you were a baby. She cannot do that now, you see. She can't do that because you have grown hair at certain places. Your body size supposedly has increased. Some of you sisters, when you were at JHS, your skin color was dark. Now you are fair. Some have even transformed their body and so on. So how do we establish that you are the same person over time? If you forget things, can we say you are the same person? If you were to return from abroad, drastically changed, you can't remember anything about your past, will we still say you are the one? And so on and so forth. It has implications on our engagement with other people, how we establish sameness and difference. So what makes you the same person that you are and so on? When we engage it into some detail, you see the problem of the self. If I lose my thumb, am I me? Or I become someone else? Okay, we look at the problem of the community versus the individual. What defines you? Are you you? Or you are someone? What makes you who you are? When we engage it, you see it's a fundamental philosophical problem. You see the link that you were looking for? You can find it also here. This is when I'll take your feedback on this paper before we discuss it. So when we go to the 4th lecture, I would have collected this from you in the 3rd week already. Then we'll go and discuss it in the 4th week. Okay. Then lecture 6, the problem of cultural identity in a multicultural context, maintaining difference. Some people have a problem with the LGBTQ. Most of us do, because we feel that apart from the religious debate, we feel that it is culturally offensive. How do we maintain a cultural difference, even in a society that is gradually and almost multicultural in nature? How do we maintain? What will be our grounds for maintaining an identity culturally that is distinct from others? We would engage that. It's a major, major issue now in contemporary philosophy. The mind-body problem, see why I put it? I put it last there because this is now metaphysics. We'll do some sociopolitical first, some metaphysical issues, and then go into the substantive metaphysics proper. The mind-body problem, Descartes and his God. And then we'll do the problem of reality versus appearance, Russell. You see his version of the reality versus appearance debate, how it will differ from the Plato discussion that you are familiar with already. Problem of certainty, we saw a bit of it when we did Descartes, the question of knowledge. We'll build on it just a little bit, not too deep, but you need to know this for your future engagement, and then we'll revise.
Madam, please, I can't hear you.
Any questions? Who is talking, please? Mention your name so I can address you. Is it Joshua? Is it Juliana? Is it Nasiba? Is it Alfred? There are 3 hands up. Who is engaging me now? Who has a problem? I can't hear you. So I wanted to call your name so that I can ask you directly. Alfred, can you hear me? Alfred Doji.
Yes, please.
Good. Teresa, can you hear me? Teresa Bannerman, sorry. Teresa, can you hear me? Teresa Bannerman. I just want to know if you can hear me.
Madam, please, I can't hear.
Who is talking now? Amina Mohammed, can you hear me? Rabiu. Amina Mohammed, Rabiu, can you hear me? Ernestina Bavo, can you hear me, please?
Yes, madam, I can hear you.
Dola Bim, please, can you hear me? Nicholas Brown, please, can you hear me? Comfort Safwa, can you hear me? I want to know if most of you can hear. That's all I'm trying to establish. If you think that where you are is a bit noisy, I can understand. If you can hear me, just unmute and respond for a minute. Let me see.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Thank you, guys. I can understand that sometimes people are at places that are a bit noisy, so they like to keep it quiet. But the feedback tells us that the majority of the class can hear. We are also on record. So my friend who cannot hear me, if you could just change your gadget. I'm talking about maybe you are using an earphone or something to listen. Can you switch it or increase the volume on your gadget? I think it will be helpful, okay? You are always able to send me your queries too directly if you have them. I've gone through the course outline with you and we just finished with that. And so we are ready to do about 30 minutes or so of our topic 1, and then we are good to go.
Madam,
yes, go ahead. If you have a question, it helps to raise your hand. As soon as you do that, I'll pick you so that we don't have chorus answers. Sometimes I won't know who is addressing me. Go ahead.
Yes, please, madam. Sorry.
You.
Madam, please, the individual reading. I wanted to ask whether you said that we are reading the individual and the individualism. I didn't hear it clearly.
Yes, that's what I said. The course outline already said that. I may not have even discussed it with you, but I like to. Normally, I like to repeat it. But look at your course outline. You see, it says it clearly. Assign individual reading assignment 1. I'm just telling you that it is that one. It's this paper.
Yes,
what I'm
please.
highlighting now. Can you see it?
Yes, please.
So when you go to your course outline, just copy this link like I'm doing like this and paste it in a browser and hit it. It will take you straight to the document. I didn't want to pull it out and then print it hard copy for you to go and buy before you know. So you can just access it wherever you are with a little data. Okay.
Yes, please, madam.
You're welcome. Now we can go straight forward to Sakai. If you have a question, please, anybody has a question, ask me so that I can clarify for you. Then we move on quickly. Okay. So to Sakai now. Yes, I see Judith's hand. Judith Okulu, go ahead with your question if it's a question. Unmute first, please.
Madam, please.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Please, I'm actually a main campus student, but then due to some clashes, I've joined the online class, so I hope it won't be an issue.
If you ask me here and it will be an issue, how will I tell you, my lady? Okay, how do you expect that I'll tell you in front of your colleagues if it will be an issue? So don't you think it would be helpful if you ask me off the class setting?
Okay.
What do you think? I'm just asking you. Do you understand? It will be better. We are all learning the analysis.
Yes,
Suppose I want to give you an exemption. If I say it in class like this, I'm encouraging the city campus folks also to come to main campus and come and say that that time that you gave, Charlie, it will help to have come. So it will help you if you send a message directly to me. Then I'll know that I'm treating someone with an exemption because of the genuine clash you may have. Okay. So write to me that way. Then I can reference that in future if I'm being hard on you. Say, oh, doc, please, you gave me an exemption because I explained to you that I have so and so clash. Then you go and bring that email and source it for all of us. Okay. All right. So let's do it that way because we don't want to encourage people crisscrossing. The continuity matters. So I don't want the crisscrossing. Why? Okay. Yes, please. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Is there any other question? Please, someone ask. If not, we are on Sakai now. So I want to take you quickly to your course site. Then you will see. Please help your colleagues who are not yet on the site, maybe because of school fees or some technical hitch. They will definitely come on. So tell them where we are. Share some links with them. The legitimate ones, okay? Not what you want to tell the student, but you're not examining them. So give them what is on the course site. Oh, I've just seen that Doc has shared an email. This is the link. Maybe she has changed the link last minute because of some hiccup. You can share with your colleagues. This is for field 307, please. If you are in that course, PHCL201 City Campus. Please, if you are there, I think this is the new link. Join. Things like that. Okay, you can help them. So at overview, you will see the course outline. So that your friends who maybe were online but couldn't follow today, and you tell them this is what is there. I've also shared it at the syllabus too. Okay. Then at announcement, I've shared only 2 announcements. The welcome note that gave you every information. I'm sure that people are sitting at maybe I should say that people may be sitting at the physical lecture as we speak now, and they have gone home thinking that the class doesn't come. Meanwhile, there's been several communications. I owe an explanation to the class that is registered into the course. They are the students of the course, you see that. So they are the people that have received that notice as early as 11 January. Look at the date. We have not even started teaching. We started teaching 16th January. I sent a notice 11 January, okay, to the class. So you will help your colleagues if you tell them that this is the notice that was sent. Look at weeks back. Both campuses, main campus, city campus, the link for the lecture, my email, my Vodafone number that I have given for academic staff. If there's no communication to that effect, don't wake me up 12 midnight and tell me we wanted to check on you to see if tomorrow's class will come up. I have a family to take care of, okay? So don't abuse that. People also go and give it to their uncles and their aunties somewhere in their hometown. Then they will call me at odd hours. Don't do that. You are not being fair to the lecture. Then I sent this. So this is the second announcement I'm giving, just in case. It's the same link. I just reshared it, okay? Resource 2. Give this link when we finish and we share it to the people who are not on the site, so they don't feel that they have lost the whole world. That's the reason I'm doing this. Okay. So you see, there is a slide. These are slides, notes. The account concept of personal identity is there. Free realism versus determinism. What we will start before we end is there. Look at it. Mind-body problem. We'll do it, I think, week 11 or week 9 or 10 or so. Is there. Certainty, synthetic hyperhierarchy is there. Slides on that. Russell's reality versus appearance slide is there. Look at when it was posted. Oh, this January 11th. You were not even in school. Multiculturalism and the notion of cultural identity. Slides on that. Or some of them are PDFs. The reference itself, so that you can have something to look at. Then the course outline, still posted here too. Reality versus appearance is there. This is Russell's paper, the paper we'll discuss. What you saw earlier are the slides, the notes on it. This is the very reference text. You can get it online too, but I put it here for you. And then the individual and the individualism, communitarianism debate. This is the one I've given you a link to. If you don't know how to enter a link and enter and get the slide, this is the PDF itself. What is the excuse now? No excuse. So read this one and be ready to respond to questions on it in the 3rd week that I will open and give a very short notice for you to respond to. I heard my name. Is someone calling me? Please ask. If not, then we continue. So that is your resource too. What else? I don't think there is anything else to remind you of. So we are good to go. Any questions, please? Yes, Nasiba, you see, go ahead.
Yes, madam. Please, about the individual and individualism, you were saying something, I didn't hear you properly.
I was just saying that the very document that I've given you a link to, if you want to, you can copy the link and paste in a browser. It will take you to that document. Okay. If that is too much work for you to do, if you go to your resource tool I've downloaded that document. It is at your
Okay.
resource tool. So you just get the PDF itself, the document itself.
Okay.
Then you just open it and start learning. That's what I said.
Okay.
I think I see another hand. Oh, it was Nasiba. Okay. Is there another question,
Yes,
please? If there's another question, please ask.
Okay, madam.
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to ask the group presentation. The group, is it going to be created on Sakai or in class?
I want to see how the class will behave. If the class manages themselves very well, we may work online. But I don't like the too many excuses. So you just be on standby for that. But there will be group presentations. Sometimes I allow students to choose their groupings themselves. But if it is not a very serious class, you can't do that. If you do that, some people will not work. They will just let their friends work because they are their friends. Then the people will go and present their work for every member in the group. I don't want that. So I'm looking at the class's behavior before. Normally, I would have opened group and then people will go and sign up for groups and they don't know the person. So they are very serious. But because they don't know the other 2 or 3 people, they keep sending emails to the people won't respond. And I won't take, if it's a group of say 10 each, I won't take a submission by 5 of them or 6 of them. I won't grade it. You all score 0. So we want to see how the class will behave before. Do you understand?
Yes.
Either way, it can go against them. So I want to look at the class's behavior. Then
Yes,
I
please.
can allow for, yes. So give us time. It's 11 weeks. We have just done 1 week today. By the second, third week, we will know how the class is. And then it will inform the way we'll do our group work.
Yes, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we go quickly to what we have shown on our screen now. Any questions, please? I'm projecting. Mohammed, please, are you online? Mohammed or David? My TAs, is any one of you here?
Yes,
Okay, David, you are there. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. We may also let your TAs group you. So it will all depend on how the class behaves. By the third week, you start your tutorial. Then we can inform you appropriately on your group work. Okay. Thank you for that question. So now we quickly move to our free will determinism slide. Who is able to read for us and read well? So far, all the people who have read are doing very fine. So I think it was Judith's hand that I saw. Okay. Emmanuel, you have read, so hold on for a minute. Nasiba has spoken a bit. So let me take Abel Abedam. Afterwards, I see Evelyn appear. I see Alfred Doji. I see Frederica, and I also see Kofi. The thing is, if you write only Kofi, even if I play back, I'm unable to know which Kofi that perhaps I couldn't call to allow him to read to earn his mark. Okay. So it helps you. If you write Frederica Vera Awusi, I can find you online and give you 1 mark, even if I couldn't call you. Okay. Let's go. I called someone. Please go ahead with the reading. Read the whole slide and I'll explain.
Understanding determinism.
Go ahead.
Problematic. The dinner of free will. Hard determinism. Indeterminism. Free willism. A challenge for determinism.
Well done. So we are looking at the outline. By the time you finish going through the 17 slides, you see that I try to make my slides as compact as I can without crowding a slide. That's my target all the time. We don't want your slides to be another textbook. I don't believe in that. That's not my philosophy at all. So slides are supposed to be pointers. They are supposed to help break down the content to iconic, focus. Something that when you get the key thing, then it leads you to a whole draft that you have in your mind somewhere. So your slides are supposed to be pointers. They are notes, PowerPoint, not a whole lecture again. So that's the target all the time. That means you have to do a lot of the reading around based on what the slide is pointing you to. It's a PowerPoint, a point that leads you to a very powerful, if you like, reference somewhere. Okay, so there are just 17 slides for the whole topic on free willism, determinism, and how you reconcile that with the question of
moral responsibility. These are 3-in-1, very heavy topics. So it's not something that you just come and say you have done in 17 slides. But that is why they are what? Pointers. Okay, what did your friend read? Your friend says, when you take this whole topic, lecture 1, by the time you finish it, you should know, or you should have a fair understanding of what? The concept of determinism. Because we linked it to the question of moral responsibility, it means you can't read determinism in abstract. You will be focusing on too many. Those who like downloading things without direction, you go and read scientific determinism and some things that may not even be relevant to the discussion we are having. So link it to the fact that we are looking at how these two views relate to the question of moral responsibility, and it will help you have a focus. Okay, so understand determinism within this frame of what? Moral responsibility. By the time you finish going through your readings and the slides and the discussions, have a fair understanding of determinism. That's 1. 2, excuse me, you should know the implications, not just all the implications, but the ones that are problematic. Implications, think of implications like the outcomes of holding on to this view. When you hold on to this view, what it generates, what it leads to. It leads to certain problems. Certain problems arise if you hold on to the view of what? Determinism. Which determinism do we have in mind? Oh, determinism when you are thinking of morality, ethics, do's and don'ts, right, good, bad. When you hold on to that view, excuse me, it can lead to certain problematic outcomes. What are they? It might lead to the denial of free will. When you deny something, it means you don't accept it. Okay, the negation of free will. Your will that is free, a free will. So your will is operating, but it operates freely without restriction, without limitation. As soon as you accept determinism, it leads to this problematic outcome, which is what? That you deny that you act freely. So know that. That's the second thing you must know. Then the third thing, by the time you finish, know that you can think of determinism in 2 ways. The soft version of determinism and the hard version of it. Then you should know that free willism, the view, as soon as you add "ism" to it, atomism, rationalism, empiricism, you see, ism, then it becomes a doctrine, a thesis, a viewpoint. It is no longer just describing how it is done, but it is describing the view itself. So free willism, determinism. The free willism is the opposite, if you like, of determinism. So look at the beginning here. Indeterminism, a negation of determinism is another way of saying what? Free willism. Okay, know that. Then you should also know the challenge, the problem, the difficulty associated with what? Indeterminism. That's another way of saying the challenges associated with what? Free willism. If you hold on to the view that we act freely out of our will. There is no restriction, limitation, no coercion whatsoever when people act. It is always out of their free will. If you hold on to this indeterministic view, the challenge that you can face. Remember, the earlier one was the problem of what? Determinism. That is what we say. That problem is what? A denial of free willism. But if you also hold on to free willism, which is also called indeterminism, then there is a possible problem or challenge you can face, or challenges you can face. We'll engage that also. And then we have some conclusions. So by the time you go through all the 17 slides and the content that these slides refer to, not just the slides, then you are finished. No. Read the references, research around it, read around it. By the time you do that, be guided by this outline. This is what we want you to know, ultimately. If you got that, and our friend got his mark, I think it was Abel Agbedam, then we can take Evelyn Apia now. Thank you, Abel, sorry, put your hand down. Let's take Evelyn Apia. Evelyn, please read for us what you see on your screen. Oh, I've not projected, sorry. This is the next slide, determinism.
Thank you, Madam.
Welcome.
Determinism. The determinist view possesses the difficulty for the question of moral responsibility as we know it traditionally. Determinism is the view that all things are causally conditioned such that they could not be otherwise.
Very good. If you hold on to the determinist view of morality, of course, then you believe that what? Everything, all things are causally conditioned. The emphasis is causally. That's why it's highlighted. Everything that happened was caused by something. Something brought about something all the time. For every event, there must be a cause. So the determinist, in this sense of the word, believes that everything is causally conditioned such that they could not have been otherwise. It couldn't have been different from what it is because something brought it about. That's the determinist view generally. And that's why we believe that it causes a problematic implication for morality as we traditionally know it. That's what Our Lady read. Please be giving them the marks for me, I beg. My tears, those that you can make out. Keep a note of their mark for me when they read. So the lady read and told us that was Evelyn Appiah. Evelyn Appiah Jemfi. Her Appiah Jemfi is hyphenated. She read and told us that if you hold on to this view of determinism in morality, then it generates a problem for traditional morality. Traditional means the way we have known morality to be. Morality, do's and don'ts. The reason why we hold people responsible for their actions. The reason why we say you shouldn't have done that is because we thought that, whose name should I use? Freeman, was my classmate. He thought that Freeman could have behaved differently and he chose to behave the way he did. So we blame him for behaving differently from what we expect that he should know that he should behave. And then the day we say, oh, wow, Labna Akush, let me see the name more. Is that Akushika? Yes, Akushika Akwe. Oh, love, you have done well. When we say that, it is because we were expecting that, we know that she could have behaved differently. So for choosing to behave this way, we applaud her. So, I nearly said blaming. So blaming and praising people is meaningfully done because we believe that people could have behaved differently. That is what makes morality meaningful. Well done, because we know that she could have behaved differently. Oh, why did you do that? Oh, I regret for behaving the way I did. Why did I even talk back at this my supervisor? Why did I look at that apple? That is someone who has been caught by the laws. And he's saying, oh, I beg you, I beg, forgive. Anytime we regret, we blame or praise, we pass on judgment, morality upon people. It is based on the fact that we believe that people could have behaved differently. That is what makes traditional morality meaningful. Now, as soon as we talk about determinism, what Evelyn read, I keep referencing the text because it helps you to remember. That's why I'm mentioning your friends who read. Evelyn read that slide number 2. It says, when I hold a view that all things are causally conditioned, such that they could not be otherwise, then I'm holding a deterministic view. I'm saying that things happen the way they do because that is how they have been programmed to be by their causal antecedent, causality. So it couldn't have been different. We are saying that as soon as you hold on to that view, look at the first point up on your screen, it generates a difficulty, it poses a difficulty for the question of morality, moral responsibility as we know it. You can't hold people responsible for their actions then, because the points you are making by deterministic view is that they couldn't have behaved differently than they did when it comes to the rightness or wrongness of their actions. Wow. Now we can move to the third person. And I don't know if I mentioned the name. If I didn't, then Alfred Doji, it's your turn to read. Go ahead. After that, Frederica, Vera, stand by.
Problematic implications of determinism for me. If it is true that all things are causally conditioned, then this must apply also to our willing and our choosing. This means the end of free will and, for many, the end of morality.
Very good. That is what I kept rapping all over on. Everything that your friend Alfred read is what I've said. I just put a lot of flesh to it to make it meaningful for you. If everything is causally conditioned, then that includes our willing and our choosing. So if I willed to copy in an exam, see where I've gone to, then I couldn't have chosen differently because even my will to copy was also preconditioned. That's the implication. Even if you didn't intend to, well, if you hold on to deterministic view in the way we have defined it, then you will have to accept if all things are preconditioned by antecedent factors, and so things couldn't have been different than what they are now, then that will include our willing and our choosing, which your friend Doji read very well. Frederica, please read the next slide I projected. Frederica, we are waiting. Go ahead. Oh, I don't want to sideline you. If you're having challenges, I'll call you again. Okay, let's take Victoria Tete. Go ahead, Vicky.
Okay, thank you, madam. Why determinism is problematic? Because it seems obvious that morality presupposes free will. That means to say that you ought to have done X suggests that the person can choose to do X or not to do X. The statement of ought, morality, then it's meaningful. Only when we assume that the person can, it's bracket free will. But this is what is denied. Madam, I can't see the down one.
It is gone. Look at it. Is it there now?
No, please.
Oh, let me see. Is it better? Should I read it for you?
This means that then it's meaningful only when we assume that the person can free will. But this is what is denied implicitly or explicitly by determinists.
Very good. Very good. Please keep giving my folks the marks for me, I beg you. It's so much work to read like that. That's Frederica Vera. Oh, Frederica, mention your full name. You have just, where are you, Frederica Vera what? Is it Akushika? Okay. I was just saying that what our lady read is very important. We have said it already, but see, I just wanted to add that this is what is denied implicitly or explicitly by determinists. I want to believe that no determinist will explicitly deny this. I mean, on the surface of it, vehemently say what they are saying, but it is implied if you hold a view that all things are preconditioned causally, causally. If you hold on to that view, then even if you didn't intend to, you would implicitly be making the case that even our willing and our choosing is also predetermined. And that is where we have problems. Okay, now we are going to trot a bit because the firm point has been made. Let's take Jason. Jason, go ahead. Jason, you are muted, though, so you have to unmute so we can hear you. Quick, please. If you raise your hand, be on standby for us, okay? There are 16 hands up, now 17. Okay, if Jason is not able to immediately, let me take Mabel Abu Gatwin. Mabel, go ahead. Oh dear. Mabel, unmute first, eh?
Madam, I cannot see the slide.
Oh, you can see reflect. Please, who can see reflect?
Madam, please, I can see.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me
Madam,
my brother.
Madam, I
Please
can
let me
see.
I can see.
I can.
Let me
I
explain
can
what
see.
happens when you leave your screen
Ada, you can see.
without touching it for a while. It freezes kind of. Okay, so you would have to be touching it once in a while, like the way we handle our phones. Okay, so that it doesn't freeze when I move my slide. So let's take. Mabel, can you see now? If you still cannot
No,
see, don't worry.
please.
Let me take Stephanie Boedi. I'll come back to you, Mabel. No worries. You and the other lady. Oh dear. Stephanie Boedi, go ahead.
Madam, please.
Can you see reflect? Go ahead. Mabel, can you see now? Read and some people are waiting. I beg you, read and let's go.
Madam, what meaning is? Madam, please, should I repeat?
Who is reading?
Madam Stephanie, should I read?
Stephanie, read. Yes, thank you very much. Read.
Reflect. What meaning is there in praise and blame? Holding people morally responsible for their actions and inactions, if because of antecedent factors, they could not have done otherwise. If I do not act and choose freely, is it meaningful to hold me responsible for my action and please, the last one I can't see.
It's inactions.
For my action and inactions.
Very good. I think that I have already made this point in my elaboration. Why will I praise or blame someone? Why will I applaud someone or judge someone if the person couldn't have behaved differently? You see, but that is the argument of the determinists, whether implied or explicit. If you don't intend it, it is not the issue. That is what you are saying, per your argumentation. Okay, thank you very much, my lady. Let's give someone else the chance. It helps us. So that was read by Stephanie Boedi. When you are trying to recall, you see that the name will reflect and say, no, the one that the other lady couldn't reflect. Remember, there was a slide that, yes, they remember to help your learning. Let's take, thank you, Stephanie. Let's take Judith Oklu. Afterwards, I'll take Yvette in Nkrumah. Yvette, be on standby. Judith, go ahead. Judith Oklu.
Reflection continued. Before a person is blamed or praised for his or her action or inaction, does it matter whether the person was forced, dragged, under some form of compulsion? Free will, therefore, seems to be a condition for responsible moral action.
Thank you so much. That was well read. So before I blame or praise you, does it not matter whether the person was forced, whether he or she was dragged, whether he was under some form of compulsion? I gave a scenario in class with the main campus student. I said, if a sister went to visit her Christian brother in the afternoon on the weekend, after rehearsal, they both go home. He's going to help me understand this square root of 625 that they have given to me at school. I'm wearing my very long skirt. This one is the pastor's son. Apologies if you're a pastor's son. I'm a very, very integral church person, so no worries. I just want a typical example. Okay, so there is no, it's in the afternoon, it's after rehearsal. I'm wearing my very long skirt and long sweater. Then just after I visit, brother gives me, a sedative that is in some fruit juice in a glass. Harmless, so to speak. Dazes me. So I'm referencing the second point, dragged. And then he takes the Adam's apple, of me. I go home, I don't know. Some 2-3 weeks later, I'm vomiting at home. I stay with an auntie who is in Accra, and I'm just about getting into the SHS here. So I've been asked to come and stay with auntie, whose husband is the pastor, so that I can be closer to my school here and school because I come from a poor home. Now I'm pregnant. And I don't even know how I can be pregnant because I have in my mind, I haven't done what I'm supposed to do to be pregnant. Now, let me ask the class, even from a distance. Is she, did she choose? In other words, let me ask the question of moral responsibility. Is she morally responsible for her pregnancy? Yes or no? It's not a straightforward matter, but it is something to be discussed. Is she pregnant? Yes. Whether she willed it or not, she's pregnant. Would she have been pregnant if she didn't go for rehearsal and stayed at home? Or if after rehearsal, she went back home quietly? But she needs to learn. But she could have learned from somewhere else because the person she was going to is a man. It's not a tree. If they were under a tree, perhaps the brother wouldn't have conceived the idea of even dragging her and stuff like that. So how do you diagnose moral responsibility? Let me ask the class and then we can continue. Still on the question of determinism versus free will. But of course, let's discuss the question of moral responsibility. Is she responsible for a pregnancy? Why would you say yes or why would you say no? Okay, let me take viewpoint. If your hand is up because you want to read, then please put it down because I want to get feedback from you on that point and then we continue. I got some nice responses from class at main campus. And it was a little bit of some fun that I cut halfway because I want people to discuss. I still see 8 hands up. Is it to respond to the question of moral responsibility? Please put your hand out. I don't want to embarrass you. So if it is not to respond to it, then put your hand out so that I get those who want to respond to that. And then I can ask them. Okay, so I still see 6 hands up. Let me ask Rebecca Amma. Rebecca, let me get your reaction. Go ahead, Rebecca. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. If it's not Rebecca, let's take all the hands up have spoken. So I'll take Yvette and Kruma. I said put your hands down.
Put your
so that I
hand
don't
down
call
so
you.
that I don't call you.
Because we are recording this. It should be on my YouTube channel. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me take Yvette.
Let me take
Yvette, go ahead.
Yvette, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have muted or I want a reaction. If you put your ID, I don't find it fanciful to call you when you have your ID showing. Because I don't want to mention your ID into the public like that. If you could put. So let's take Idris Jalil. Please unmute and react.
Hello, madam.
Yes, please. I can hear you. Is it Yvette in Nkrumah?
Yes, madam.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Madam, please, she's not responsible.
Okay, why?
Because she didn't choose fully for that pregnancy. She was forced by somebody.
Okay, was she tied and bangled into a car, sort of, to that guy's house there? Please. Don't worry, I'm playing the devil's advocate. I want to get. Did someone tie her up and throw her into the guy's room, sort of?
No, madam, but maybe something like this could happen.
But what, Yvette? All the people at church, she didn't find anybody else's help to seek for than a brother who has something in his system and in his room. What do you think?
Well, they both agree.
Hmm? Sorry,
they
I
both
didn't hear
agree. From the
she and who agreed? Who is pregnant now?
she and the
She's
boy.
not responsible. I said nobody should mind me. I'm playing the devil's advocate. That's what I'm trying to do. When we say the devil's advocate, you stand here and then you try to stand with those 4. And then when those against also come, you try to stand with them until you tease out all the perspective to the matter. Don't you think the sister could have sought help from someone else, like another sister? or they could have sat outside. Because if they were at the church auditorium, maybe the brother wouldn't have attempted that, even no matter how tempted he felt. Or if it was in public, at the rehearsal grounds, and every other person was there and we're asking for help. You see? So if you chose to go to the person's house, you weren't tied into a basket and thrown into his room and locked up there. You went in there. Someone on campus, when we discussed, asked, did you go to do homework or you went to drink juice? Your friends on main campus asked that question. Did you go to the house there to do work or to go and drink juice? If you went and you focused on your homework, you would have had your eyes wide open and not taken in. So you are responsible. Have contributed to what happened. Let me get one other reaction. Thank you so much, sir. I just played the devil's advocate. Let me take, I see Perseus, I see Sarah Santo, I see Ernestina, I see Judith Oklu, I see Jalil. Jalil, do you want to react? Idris, if not, I take John Bonny.
Yeah, madam.
Go ahead. Joseph, you are there, my father. Go ahead, Jalil.
Before a person is blamed or praised for his or her action or inaction, does it not matter whether the person was forced, dragged under some form of compulsion? Free will, therefore, seems to be a condition for responsible moral action.
Thank you. Right now, thank you so much for reading. I'm asking for a reaction from us as a class. Whether we hold, let's give the lady a name, Mansa, responsible for her pregnancy, given the scenario that I narrated. I still want your reaction. Okay. So let me take Joshua Mensah. Josh, let me hear you. Do you hold her morally responsible or not? And why? It is the why that I want to address. Joseph, do you want to react? I don't know if I'm not seeing some of the hands. If you are on and you want to react, but I'm not calling you because I've seen about 11 hands now. Now 12.
Okay, madam, I want to continue.
Go ahead.
Madam, I think morally, they all agree. So the lady followed the guy without the guy forcing her. And also, the lady should have denied the drink. So since she agreed, and secondly, she took the drink, she is responsible for the pregnancy.
My brother, there I go with my devil's advocate again. I came to your house. We are all coming from church. When you come to my office and I give you water, will you drink or you not drink? My brother. If you come to my office and I give you drink, this is a church, brother. We're all coming from Heza. When I came, you gave me juice. It wasn't alcohol. So that someone will say that, now you, when you were taking the alcohol, don't you know that I was preparing the grounds for action? It's juice. And I came home so you can help me understand square root of 625. I'm now going to SHS. I'm not so weak. I came with my long skirt. If you are man enough, you can ask me whether I want to. You said we agreed. We agreed on what? We agreed on homework. Not on stealing Adam's apple from me without my permission. So
Madam,
how can I be helped? Yes.
I believe we agreed on homework. So when the drink came, we didn't agree on drink. So you should have also said that, okay, when I'm going, I'll take the drink along.
Yes, so I did. But if you give me drink, by my brother, when you give me drink, is drink Adam's apple. And I didn't see your name. Who is talking? Wait, did you see? Oh, please mention your name. The name's is it Kingsley?
Yes, please.
Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc.
Just a minute. I will let you finish with Kingsley. Kingsley, so if you give me juice and I drink juice, does it give you permission to take Adam's apple from me? And I am answer.
Madam, we don't and you know that when you think good, you have to think bad too. So even though we are
coming, but you are holding me responsible now, Kingsley. That's the issue. If you told me that when your mother came home, she asked about the juice, and you told your mother that you gave it to your guest, and now your mother is angry at you, and you want to gather the money to go and buy it. And you came to my house that, look, the juice is 6 cedis. Me, I have 4 cedis. Give me 2 cedis. Let me add it and go and buy and replace for my mother because you drank some of the juice. I'll pay. You see? Because it's the juice I came to drink. I didn't come there to drink it. But you have taken my Adam's apple, something you can't give back to me. My virginity. You see? That's the issue. And you just didn't take that. Then you deposited something, which I didn't ask you to deposit. If you are man enough, after you enjoyed whatever, take it out and throw it somewhere. Don't leave any imprint. Now you have made me pregnant 3 weeks after. I'm in trouble. And you are holding me responsible for something I didn't negotiate, I didn't contribute to, I didn't even know. That's the issue. Morality. You see how I've put on the coat of a free willist now? The first attempt, I was wearing determinist shirt. Strongly argue. You two, you came to my house to come and drink, to come and do homework. You do come to drink high and enjoy and sleep. And we are taking things from you guys. You can't tell. You don't even know. Why did you come in the afternoon? You should have come when my mother and father are there. You see that? In the evening, maybe they will be there. You should have asked me in the church. You should have used discretion. You contributed. Because maybe if the pastor was sitting next to us, I won't even have the feeling, let alone to conceive of evil. So you two should have used discretion. Maybe you now, this one, you wanted that. Adam's apple for sale. You just didn't have the vim to tell me. Now, you see, so that is why on the screen now, back to our screen. Thank you for the reactions from both sides. Keep reflecting on them. But these are the practical issues that come before people. Psychologists, maybe some of you are doing psycho. Counselors, maybe judges. You are a lawyer. That case has been brought before you. You shouldn't be myopic. You must be open-minded. Your mind must be open to the various aspects of a matter before you examine, analyze, assess, and then contribute a response. Don't follow the crowd, because there are various ways of looking at this matter. Even though there is the obvious one that may be religiously inspired or maybe societal. Abufra Bonio, this boy is a bad boy. Why did he do this and that and that? You, the sister too. Why will you go to a brother's house? Is he a stone? It's a human being. You see? So if we looked at all those aspects, perhaps the person was forced. Perhaps he was dragged. Don't think that the person was forced is only when you are looking at the lady. The guy too could have been forced. So here, yes, he could have been forced, compelled, led to. Because maybe when you came to the room there and you were watching the TV, how you were even like, and a certain brother, that you are doing like that. He is rising. Yes, you think he will only rise when you remove your skirt. No, sometimes how you are laughing. Yes, the angle, your posturing, the familiarity. Yes, Brian. Me, I'm big sister. You are all my little brothers and sisters. I tell you, so I'm not. I'm not worried at all. Brian, yes. You don't understand, eh? I'm teaching children's service. Please allow me to speak in a coded language. Okay, so now if you get this actual scenario that I gave, and I'm saying that under normal circumstances, if you ask this, all the perspectives will be, oh, the girl too. No, excuse me. It is the guy's fault. He dragged the sister. Yes, for our scenario and the purposes, we would say, oh, if you dragged someone, then perhaps, see my language, then perhaps you couldn't hold the lady responsible for the pregnancy. Morally, we mean, okay? But perhaps you could. Perhaps. If you looked at the other side of it, perhaps it's a shared responsibility. That's why you should also use discretion. But now let's bring it to the focus of our discussion. If someone was forced, whether the lady or the guy, dragged, whether the lady or the guy, under some form of compulsion, remember, some form of it, then you cannot hold them perhaps morally responsible for their action. Reflection continued. I want a very good reader now. Everything we are going to read going forward, you see, will be based on some of the discussions we've had. I want a very good reader. If you are confidently a good reader, Then read for us. Victoria, take a please. Sorry, let me take Vicky. She's back. Victoria, read.
Okay, madam, please, thank you.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Note.
Please read.
The determinists claim that people have no control over their actions and inactions, whether good or evil, has no bearing on those actions being nevertheless good or evil. Desiring to torture starving children, for example, should be recognized as an evil act, according to the determinists, which must be treated like cancer. You do not punish a patient with, madam, please, I can't see the down one.
With cancer. Sorry, I keep doing this. It should be better now. Please read that. Desiring to torture starving children. Please, can you see it now?
Designed to torture starving children, for example, should be recognized as an evil act, according to the determinists, which must be treated like cancer. You do not punish a patient with cancer. You try to treat or heal it, says the determinist. And I'm putting that on.
Please, madam, I cannot hear anything.
Madam, please, I cannot see the slide.
Hey, my people, can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
I'm back.
Yes, madam.
Okay, I'm back. We'll wrap up
Yes,
shortly,
madam.
But
Yes, madam. Can you hear you now?
is my screen still visible to you?
Yes,
If not, I'll
please.
reshare. Okay, I'm resharing for those who may lose it. Some may lose it when we go off like that.
Okay.
So I'm resharing. Where we are?
Okay.
Where are we? Almost done. Yeah, here we are.
Okay, madam.
Okay, yeah. So I'm sure that my lady, you can see now, desiring to torture starving children, for example, should be recognized. Please read that.
For example, should be recognized as an evil act, according to the determinist, which must be treated like cancer. You do not punish a patient with cancer. You try to treat or heal. It says the determinist.
Very good. So the point that Madam has read and she should earn a mark for is simply this. The determinist wants to stress that, look, my saying that people's actions are already causally determined doesn't mean that the action has become right or wrong. No, I haven't said that, even if I'm a determinist. I admit that if the person killed children indiscriminately, that is a wrong act. So the rightness or wrongness of it is not in question. If it is a right act, it is a right act. If it's a wrong one, it is a wrong one. But my issue as a determinist is that what? The right action did not emanate from myself. It was already conditioned causally. So let's treat the wrong action. Let's applaud the right action, but let's focus on the wrong one. If I have acted in a way that is wrong, yes, it is wrong, but let's treat the wrongness of it. Don't punish me for it. Correct it. So treat it as you would treat cancer if you found it on me. You will even pity me for bearing the cancer cells. You treat the cancer cells and love me, the patient, and protect me from the cancer. So my evil actions are evil, yes, but you correct it. So you don't punish retributively. You don't punish with the aim of, making me pay for that wrong act. You punish me in a corrective tone. Your aim is to correct what I have done wrongly, because you know and you pity me that I had to fall into that state of mind at all to act that way. Okay, why? Because of how you diagnose the problem. You diagnose it as what? A cancer, how you would treat cancer. That's what Madam read earlier. So the action there, it is wrong. If it is good to, it is right, fine, no problem. You can't say because I didn't cause it, therefore the action has become right. For example, if I'm killing or I'm raping or I am lying, because of antecedent conditions, how my upbringing was, the kind of home I grew in, the external factors that have molded my likes and dislikes, my behavior, etc. That is what is making me act this way, like an armed robber, for example. It doesn't make the armed robbery a good thing. So even the determinists won't disagree with the fact that there are wrong acts and there are right acts. They will agree. What they are arguing for is that it wasn't intentionally caused by me. See the word intention, we'll see it in a minute. It wasn't intentionally caused. It was caused by antecedent conditions. And therefore, your focus should be in how you will treat it, not how you will pay the actor back, but how you will treat the error that the actor finds himself or herself in. Okay, that should have implications on what? How you punish, even the law courts and how they punish, if you were going by this thinking. And I asked a certain question in class the last time about how you can reconcile determinism and the notion of punishment as retributive or corrective. So I can frame a practical question around that and ask you to respond philosophically. So on your screen now, you see there are two ways of thinking of determinism. The hard one, which focuses on external antecedent factors as the reason why you have become what you have become. Look on your screen where you go, you can go through your slides and find them. Okay. When you say your choices are determined and shaped by external factors like your upbringing, your birth, your education, the environment you found yourself in, your genetic structure, that is what has made you behave the way you are behaving. Then it means it is as a result of factors external to you. That's what the hard determinist uses to argue that. So it is not your fault. It's as a result of your external factors to your being. The self-determinist, however, says that no, it's actually as a result of internal factors. So that makes room for a certain degree of what? Accountability is internal to you. So perhaps your will, your desires, your character, that's how you are. She's introvert or extrovert, whatever. She has emotional then syndromes. Now, the problem though is that if it is internal, it would actually be as a result of external factors that you generate your internal. I keep looking on my screen. Okay. So some have argued that really self-determinism will dissolve into hard determinism after all, because whatever is internal to your being would have been picked up by your external factors. Okay. Therefore, look on my screen. Therefore, does self-determinism reduce to hard determinism after all? That's the question. Isn't my character, look on the highlighted stuff in your screen, isn't my character, that's my attitude, desire, likes and dislikes, etc., ultimately determined by factors external to me? You see? If it is as a result of external factors like my upbringing, where I grew up, my parental restrictions, what have you, have made me a very reserved person who doesn't like certain things and like certain things. Are these my likes and dislikes which are internal to me, not generated from external factors? There they are. They were actually influenced by external factors to me. So perhaps there aren't any difference between internal and external after all. And so comes William James's indeterminism. Remember my introductory bit. I told you indeterminism is another way of saying free willism, the negation of determinism, indeterminism. You see that? So free willism, and William James is a proponent of free willism. He doesn't think any antecedent cause. Look at it. There's a belief that some things and possibly the will are not causally determined. Your will, ope. No, your desires, your will. No, they are not determined. You choose it. So see, all these are straightforward. Don't struggle to read them. I've even emphasized them already. The indeterminist argues that morality is a fact, which presupposes that our will is not determined. You choose. My sister, you chose it. My brother, you chose to rape the sister. And if you choose to do something, then you are accountable for the outcomes of it. Whether you intended it or not is another issue. Okay, look on your screen. But are there certain things that are not intended intentionality? Remember it. Look at, I stretched my hands behind me and then it hits the class rep's eye. God forbid that. And then his eye comes out and falls down. God forbid. Okay. Perhaps I didn't, I said perhaps, because some do it intentionally. In the name of I didn't do it intentionally. But perhaps I didn't intend to. But I have done it. And the effects are there. You didn't intend to make the person fall down, but you have made him fall down. He has broken his limbs and is going to hold crutches for the rest of his life. Unintended. You see, how do you measure intention? You see, it's very difficult. So don't be in a hurry to be a judge. It's not easy, sir. Now, when it is not intended, so I told you that sometimes in the law court, if you're able to show that yes, the person has killed, but he didn't intend to, they may call it manslaughter. But sometimes the person didn't even kill, but the intention was to kill. He didn't end up killing. They call it murder. And you serve more years than the one who actually killed, but perhaps it wasn't intended. You see, so intentions matter in deciding moral responsibility and accountability, okay, on caused choices of free will. Look on your screen. I talked about regret. Did you see it over there? I've already touched on that. So the fact that you regret something, you can say that, I really regret copying that exam. If I didn't copy, I would have done better. This support that came has disoriented me. I went to learn the wrong things. Regret shows that there can be responsibility. Blame and praise shows that there can be responsibility. On our screen now, we see some conclusion. Determinism may be impractical. Practical life, we know that we choose, we make choices. That's why it's meaningful to even plan at all, because we know we can affect what happens next. But free will too may be obscure, maybe strange. Sometimes we feel we are acting freely, but there are certain things that are outside of our control. So what do you think? And where do you stand? That's my question to the class. I put some wise sayings that I found. Life is like a game of bridge. The hand you are dealt with represents determinism, but the way you play it is free will. Reflect on those and let's see. Some of you say the grapher. What is written is written. You can't do anything about that. Well, I don't believe in that. I believe that you can influence some of the options, even if you don't have control over them. Just make an attempt at them, and you never know where they will take you. Remember Ortega's man has no nature, and how he tells us that human being is not like the stone and everything. We learned that in level 100. And let's hope that you are able to influence your life decisions and make an impact. Thank you very much. I'll take your questions if you have any. I see 9 hands up. If there are questions, then keep them up so that I call them 1-1. There are no questions, but you were to read them, put them down. I want to see those that have questions. So Jalil, if it's a question, please ask. Idris. And Estina Babo, if you still have a question, please ask. Sarah Santua, if it's a question, please ask. I see Prince, I see Rebecca Amma. Now there are 5 hands. Okay, there are 4. I don't want to brush you aside, please. So if it's a question, just unmute and ask. Nana Kofi is a question.
Hello, madam.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Please, can we find this particular lecture on YouTube, like from
When I finish,
last semester?
Okay, so the current one we are engaging, I'll record and upload. When you go to my YouTube channel, just go to some of them, I don't even know if I uploaded them. That's why I'm unable to answer straight. But go to the playlists and then look for PHCL201. Or you can also look at PHCL102 because I alternate the questions and the problems. So sometimes I deal with some of the discussions in the problems of philosophy, and then I build on it in 102 philosophical questions. Then I build on it in problems of philosophy. So look out for both the 102 and the 201 recordings that I've uploaded. You'll get this topic there. Okay. Thank you very much. That was Sarah. Ernestina, do you have a question? Yvette Nkrumah. Is it a question? If not, then we are so done.
Yes, madam, it's a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Madam, please, what will be our next topic so that we can prepare?
Oh, what did the course outline say, boss?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You see, let it guide you.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
But read the topic one, okay? Then the last one. I still see Sarah's hand. Sarah, is this still a question or you are done? All right. I think I enjoyed today's class. I'll share the link to both main and city campus tests. Then we can always reference it for our future discussions. Let's meet, God willing, next week online to discuss topic 2, which is, I think, Locke's question of the self. There are slides on it. You can read around it online and enrich yourself. Have a wonderful week. All the best and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you too.